What's up, people? It's Hayes here, coming at you with that Call of Duty gameplay, bringing you that one kill streak, KEM strike, beast mode, free-for-all gameplay. Nah, man, I spawned in the ridiculous spawn systems here on this free-for-all gameplay, and I happened to be in the right spot at the right time and terribly aim, but somehow kill the guy who, threw down his KEM care package. Got that care package. It's always a KEM on the Strike Zone map. I haven't seen it anything but a KEM. Another thing with this, real quick, is just the spawn systems in this game, especially on free-for-all on this map, are just terrible. I'm turning around, throwing grenades at the spawn, and I still get killed from behind. You can't run away from how bad the spawns are. But that's besides the point. That's a whole nother topic I could go on and on about. But today I'm going to talk about the evolution of camping in Call of Duty. Every COD will have camping to some extent. Whether it be, Black Ops or Call of Duty Ghosts. It's just more noticeable in, the newer games like Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Ghosts. You have to camp in these games to do well. Let me rephrase that. You don't have to camp, but you'll get in lobbies where you have to camp. Call of Duty Ghost, maps like this, Stonehaven, you have to camp to win. You can't run around because you're playing guys who will have one sniper camping. And there are spots on this map where you can see everything, everybody, especially if you throw on a thermal like I've got here. People don't use incog, so you can see them, they glow. It's so easy to see people, and it's so easy to camp. But Call of Duty 4 and World at War, in my opinion, were games that didn't have many campers in them. They just didn't, from my experiences. And I go back and I play, Call of Duty 4. I got rid of my World at War. My cousin borrowed it and never really gave it back, and still kind of bitter about that. But that's a whole nother story. Gamers weren't given a reason to camp in these two games. And the snipers and bolt action rifles in these games were just shit. It didn't give people a reason to use them and go sit in corners and pick people off. Another thing that these games did that I think should be brought back, which probably won't be, but were the kill streaks. You couldn't customize them. You had 3, 5, 7. That was it. You went on a 7 kill streak. Congratulations. After that, now it's just a personal best. How long can you stay alive? After 7, there was no incentive to, try to get more kills in a row. You didn't have a 10 kill streak, so you didn't care if you died. It just reset your streaks. And to me, that's awesome. That is awesome. That's the way it should be. You shouldn't be given any more reason to sit in a corner and try to get kills. And then that leads us to Modern Warfare 2. After these two games, it was Infinity Ward's turn to be innovative and, try something new after World at War. And their innovation was quickscoping, which pissed me the hell off, man. That, if anything, was the most unrealistic thing any Call of Duty could have ever introduced. And the snipers were insanely overpowered. They had pro versions of perks. It just gave people more of an incentive to camp to get the pro versions. The kill streaks were customizable. They had death streaks. Your kill streaks stacked. So if you got 2 helicopters, you got 14 kills. You had 2 helicopters in the air, destroying the other team. You really only had to use your gun for about 14 kills, and you could go 30 and 2. But really only use your gun for 14 of those kills to get those choppers in the air. So it's just that game, as much as I like the maps in that game, it was just broken. It was camper fest. It was quick scope fest. It was not one of my favorites. You know, I still enjoy it. I'm a Call of Duty fan, people. And most of you are who are watching my channel because that's what I'm going to be playing mostly. And, you know, Call of Duty, once you're a fan, you're a fan. You're in it to win it. You know, you love the series, as much bullshit they put in it. You're still going to play it because that's what everybody plays. That's the game that everybody plays, Call of Duty. So, after Modern Warfare 2, you know, Black Ops came out in 2010. They briefly seemed to put an end to quick scoping. Treyarch, you know, they went back to making the assault rifles and SMGs the obvious choice when you're customizing your loadout. The only thing that I would change in that game are the pro versions of, you know, Flak Jacket and Ghost. That literally made you an overpowered camper. You throw on Flak Jacket, you throw on Ghost, can't be seen, can't be killed by ridiculous, you know, grenades thrown in your direction. And there was a lot of that going on in that game. I know, for one, I threw a lot of random grenades and was able to snag some kills and do some fun things and just act stupid sometimes. But, you know, if you were a hardcore camper, I can't tell how many times I would throw grenades in buildings or in corners where I knew there was a guy and just get a hit marker because the dude had Flak Jacket on. And then I'd run in there and his claymore would blow me up, or he would do something crazy like shoot from the hip and destroy me and some bullshit. You know, every Call of Duty has that. But, you know, that was Black Ops. The maps were good. You know, everything else I thought was fun. The pace was typically fast, and that's how Call of Duty should be played. Fast-paced, running around, guns blazing, rushers versus rushers. You know, in my opinion, that's how the game should be played. That's when it's most fun for me. And then in 2011, you know, Modern Warfare 3 came out. And really, this was just a replicate of Black Ops with upgraded weapons and graphics and perks. You know, you threw on Assassin matched with Sit Rep Pro, and you were a camper, you know, ultimate camper. You could hear everybody, even from across the map, and you couldn't be seen by any UAVs. It was impossible for people to rush. They have to change their gameplay styles because of these perks in that game. You had to. Now the only thing that Modern Warfare 3 did that I liked was they had javelins. That was awesome. I love the freaking javelin because that, I think, pisses people off the most. They hear that missile go up in the air and they have no idea where it's coming, and then all of a sudden they just die and they're like, what? I mean, it was awesome. I wish I had had my Elgato then when I was a beast with the javelin. I mean, I still could go back and record, but I'd have to get back into it and get my javelin spots down. And, you know, not a lot of people playing that game. They're all playing Ghost or Black Ops 2. But anyway, another overpowered thing in that game, which was awesome for rushers, was the UMP silenced, and you had to have the specialist kill streak on. When you had that thing going, that sucker was so overpowered. You could run around, and if you got the specialist bonus, you know, it didn't matter if they were campers or not. You were just guns blazing, destroying people. Every perk equipped with the specialist bonus. It was awesome. You know, it made any rusher gameplay style unstoppable. You know, that was awesome. I really commend them for putting that in the game. It was awesome. And then Black Ops 2 came out in 2012, and Treyarch did their homework for once. They saw how Modern Warfare 3 was. They saw how people camped. They listened to the community. They did what you're supposed to do when you're a business. They listened to their consumers. They made Ghost to where you had to move in order to be Ghost. Like, you know, if you weren't moving, you could be seen. You know, if you were moving, Ghost worked. That was awesome. That was innovative. That is how every Ghost perk or Assassin perk should be in every Call of Duty from here on out. It should be that way. You don't want to give people any more reason not to play Call of Duty the way it's supposed to be played. You know, the maps were not infested with dark corners, random unused areas, or, you know, overpowered camping weapons. yes, you had your overpowered weapons, and yes, people would camp with them, but it wasn't like Black Ops where there was just shit, the original Black Ops, where there was like shit where you could just lay in, lay under, lay on, not be seen. You know, it was insane in Black Ops 1. You know, so many dark corners and things like that to where you couldn't be seen. But, you know, then it comes to Call of Duty Ghosts. And to be honest, in order to be successful in this game, you have to camp. And I wanted to throw up one of my campiest gameplays, you know, that I could capture. Because, you know, it's really hard for me to camp people. I can't do it. I get bored. Like right now, I'm like, there's nobody coming. I'm just looking at their spawn in the castle, and you just can't see anything. No one's coming. I want to move. I get restless, you know. But I was trying to camp because the people we were playing were camping. And that's how you got to do it. If you can't beat them, you got to join them in this game. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about Ghosts is that the lobbies vary. If you have a camper lobby, you got to camp. If you got a rushing lobby, you got to rush. And, you know, that's just the way it is in Call of Duty Ghosts. But, hey guys, you know, this is coming to the end of the gameplay here. Help a brother out. Like, subscribe. And I guess I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.